Hello, everybody. My name is Recia Miller, and I am the founder and executive director of House of Overcome. I do have several videos, about 3 videos already posted on our Facebook page, but I wanted to do another, and those are Facebook Live videos. I wanted to do another video specifically about working with victims and survivors of human trafficking. And this video is, the title says, 4 effective strategies for working with, or skills, I should say, for working with survivors and victims of human trafficking and domestic violence. But honestly, this is for any case manager, any trauma counselor, any social worker who works with any population, any what society would call at-risk population. I do believe that these skills would really come in handy when it comes to your outcomes, when you're looking for positive outcomes or positive results. I really do believe that if you possess these skills, and not only possess these skills, but utilize these skills when working with participants, some say clients, I'd rather say participants, that you will see some positive outcomes. That's usually the ultimate goal. So the very first one, I have my notes here. And first of all, just let me say, to find out more about House of Overcome, that's the nonprofit organization that I founded, you can go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/House of Overcome, and make sure that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Facebook.com/House of Overcome. Or if you're already on Facebook, you can just type in the search box, House of Overcome. We're there. We're the only one. You'll see us. You'll find us. That's where you can find out more information about the organization and some of the services that we provide. So getting straight to it, there are 4 skills that are very important when working in social services, when working with participants. Like I said, if you do want to see positive outcomes and results, if you want to improve retention, or just your overall relationship with the people who you work with, these are going to be some very important skills and techniques to use. So the first, I have my notes here because I don't want to forget anything, you guys. By the way, as you can see, this background is different. This is my hotel room. I'm in Chicago. I'm visiting Chicago, and I'm taking advantage of the wonderful internet service that they have in here. My internet service is pretty good, but this one is much better. So I said, let me take advantage of this. But anyway, number 1, check your attitude. I'm amazed at how many people have chosen the social work profession. I'm not quite sure why, because they don't have the personality for it, the attitude for it. And there is a certain personality type that should be in this field and that should not be in this field. If you are not a people's person, if you are not an easy person to talk to, if you're not someone who's want to work as a team, or even definitely as a team, because in social services you're constantly working as a team. But if you're not the type of person that enjoys working with people or talking to people, if you're not a good listener, an active listener, this is not, if you have a poor attitude, this is not the profession for you, because it is a very difficult profession. It's one where you are oftentimes the work that you do, the hard work that you do, is oftentimes overlooked. You're underpaid. It's not seldom ever appreciated for the hard work that you do. It's just the way that it is in social services, and anyone will tell you that it can be very overwhelming. So it's something that you have to be purposed to do. It has to be your gift. It has to be your passion. It's not something you can come into for money, because you're not making any money in the field. So it has to be, so you're definitely not making a lot, so if you're thinking about if you wanted to make a lot of money, think about corporate America. But, coming into social services, you really do have to have the personality and the character for it, the resilience for it, because it's not easy at all. You're dealing with many different types of people, different types of attitudes, but it does not mean that we can take on some of the same attitudes and even personality types that we see. And you're going to work with all different types of people, but you're going to encounter a lot of different challenges, and so the way you choose to handle and respond to those challenges are very, very important. So having the right attitude is everything. Participants want to work with someone who's easy to talk to, pleasant in personality and in character. I definitely know I would. If I was a victim or survivor of human trafficking or domestic violence, I certainly wouldn't want to sit before or open myself up to disclose any personal information to someone who has a poor attitude, or someone who's judgmental, or someone who's looking down on me. If you are a judgmental person, or if you have a bad attitude, it shows, and it will reflect in the way that you treat other people, the way that you talk to them, the way that you interact with them. So you don't have to say a word. It's all in your body language and those nonverbal cues, which is why nonverbal cues are so important. And it's just a vibe that people get. It's the intuition thing that we automatically get when we're in the company of someone who you don't like, or someone who you feel maybe doesn't have your best interest at hand, or phony, whatever it may be. You definitely want to watch your attitude. You want to think twice before even coming into the profession if you know that's something that you need to work on. You have to be able to separate your personal life from your professional life. You have to be able to separate even your personal beliefs from your professional life, because it really doesn't matter. I'm going to let's take homosexuality as an example. It really doesn't matter how you feel about it. If you're anti-homosexual or anti-gay marriage, it really doesn't matter. When you're working in this profession and you're working with all different types of populations, you have to be able to separate your personal values or your beliefs about certain things from the workplace, because what you think personally really doesn't matter. And if it does matter to you that much, then you ought to reevaluate or rethink choosing certain professions or certain places to work. Because you have to know automatically, as a social worker, as a case manager, one of the things that we are trained to do is be open-minded and work with many different populations, just straight across the board, because that's what we do. And outside of being trained, it has to be something that's innately in you. Just a personable, kind, pleasant, non-judgmental person. You can only teach someone to be that way. That can only go so far. In other words, that has to be in you. That has to be a part of your upbringing and all of that good stuff. So definitely watch your attitude. Definitely be cognizant of your attitude or any flaws in your character or attitude that you feel can affect your relationship with your participant or your client. It's very, very important. If retention is the goal of the program, then that's the customer service, the way that you treat others, is what's either going to bring them back or going to drive them away. So that's definitely, if positive outcomes is something that you're looking for, your attitude and how you treat others is what's going to either encourage them or motivate them to accomplish their goals, or they will fail in that area altogether. So how we treat others, how we treat the people who we work with, is really going to make a difference in so many different areas. So one is check your attitude. Don't look down on others. Don't be judgmental. That one's really, really important too. And yeah, I think I covered everything there. Number two, be resourceful. So as a case manager, you definitely want to have resources at your disposal, because you're connecting, you're a catalyst, you're connecting your participants to different resources within the community. You are filling in service gaps for whatever your organization or program does not offer. Then you should be able to refer participants to services or programs, other services or programs in the community that can fill in those gaps that we can't, or that you can't. That's what we're there to, that's in part what we're there for. So as a case manager or social worker, we're a jack of all trades. We're doing many different things. But one of the things that we do, or one of the things that qualities that we have to possess, is to be resourceful, is to have resources at our disposal. Now, that does not mean you learn as you go. So that does not mean that you have to be an expert of you have to know every single program in your community. I mean, that's not possible. There will always be things that you're constantly learning as you, like I said, as you go. But you definitely should have enough resources available so that when you are meeting with a participant, you are meeting with your client, you should have some information for them. And another thing, instead of, and whether it's transitional living homes, it's sober living homes, it's mental health centers, I mean, whatever the resource may be, you should have resources in all of those categories, at least a few in each of those categories, so that you will have a place to refer them. You will know what you're talking about. And like I said, you don't have to be an expert in all things, in every single resource. You'll never be able to know every single resource. You will learn as you go along. Over time, you will find out, you'll learn more and more. But as a case manager, it really wouldn't make sense to consider yourself a case manager if if you don't have some available resources for your participants. And you should also be familiar with those resources. So it's much more than just blindly referring someone out into the community and you haven't been to that location, you haven't spoken to anyone at that location, you don't have a point of contact at that location. If we're talking about just a few resources within all of those categories, then get out there, meet with people, network with people, build a relationship with people so that they know about who you are and the services that you provide, what you do, you know about what they do. So automatically you can just start referring people. Having that working relationship is very important, and it's also good because your participants know, oh, okay, my case manager has been there before. And if she says it's nice, then it must be really nice. You know, she knows who I can call. She's seen the place, she's been there before, and it makes them feel more comfortable with actually going themselves. You know, so you definitely want to be resourceful, and it's as simple as having, if your organization doesn't have an internal database for you to find out about different resources at where I work, it's iCarol. We used to have iCarol, and it's a database where you can, find out about all of the resources in the Orange County area. If you don't have that type of database at your disposal, it's fine. You can do a Google search, and a Google search will yield some of the same results. So just go on the internet. You probably have a computer in your office. Go on the internet and start accumulating different resources. Very, very important. We have to be resourceful. 3, maintain regular contact with your participants. So that's really important too. You definitely want to, that shows that you care, that shows that you're concerned about their well-being. That's also a good way for you to follow up on their progress and their goals, with accomplishing their goals, or trying to accomplish their goals. You don't want a whole month to go by, or even a whole 2 weeks to go by. Every company is different on what the protocol is for keeping in contact, but regular contact is not once a month. Regular contact is not, in my opinion, once every 2 weeks. So a lot can happen in a day. Certainly a lot can happen in 2 weeks, and certainly in a month. So you want to maintain that contact. It's called being engaging. It's really important. Your participants will see that you care, like I said, about their well-being, about how they're doing, about their progress or lack thereof. This is a good way for you to follow up with them, help them out where they may need it. And the only way you'll ever even know that is if you're following up with what they're doing. So to be engaging and to maintain contact is very important. You will lose a lot of folks from the program if you're not maintaining contact. So it's not only about retention. I know is important, but it's not only about retention. Let's put retention aside. Let's forget about numbers. If you're really there, if you're really in the position to do the job, and it's more than just a job to you, it's something that you really love to do. Like I said, it's your passion, and you naturally want to follow up and make sure that your participants are on the right track. You naturally, that's something that you automatically want to do and should be doing. So yeah, definitely maintain regular contact and stay engaged. Last but not least is to incorporate then utilize the harm reduction model. The harm reduction model is just an approach or a way of working with participants where you're not trying to get them to stop what they're doing altogether, because realistically, it's not realistic. In most cases, it's not realistic. Nothing happens overnight. It is a process, and the harm reduction model recognizes that change is a process, that it takes time. And so what harm reduction is pretty much just that, helping or assisting participants in minimizing risk and minimizing the harm that whatever they're doing can cause. Let's take domestic violence, for example. So if we're utilizing the harm reduction model, we know that no woman, after being in a violent relationship, whether it's emotional abuse or physical abuse, getting out of a relationship is very easy, or getting in a relationship, I should say, is very easy to do. Getting out is very difficult to do. So you cannot tell a woman, get out, leave him, girl, leave him, pack your bags, leave, because it's not that easy. It takes, everybody is different. Everybody does have a breaking point, but everyone reaches that breaking point at different times. So getting out of a relationship where love is involved, sometimes when children, are many times, most of the time when children are involved, even if children aren't involved, walking away from a relationship is a very difficult thing to do. So if we're utilizing the harm reduction model, we're first aware of the fact that it's not going to happen. She's not going to leave right away. It's going to take some time, and hopefully eventually with your encouragement, with your support, eventually she will, and you provide her with the resources and the tools to do that. But harm reduction is first acknowledging the fact that it's not going to happen right away. But what I want to do is I want to minimize risk. I want to reduce the harm that being in this relationship can cause. So what I can do is I can provide her with resources. I can provide her with transitional living homes or domestic violence shelters or support groups that she can attend, because in giving her these resources, that is helping her, if she actually accepts this and takes advantage of these resources, what that can do is to help strengthen her and motivate her and encourage her to slowly but surely walk away from that relationship. I can provide her with resources on legal advocates or victims' rights specialists that can help her fill out a protective order. So there are things that we can do to help minimize risk. There are things that we can do to help minimize risk with whomever we're working with. But acknowledging that nothing happens overnight and that every difficult thing is a process. That's the first step, and that's what harm reduction is all about. You can read more. You can go on Google and you can find out more about the harm reduction model and how to incorporate it, how to utilize it in your own program. It's a very popular model, and it's what a lot of, if not most, social service agencies, if they're working with the mentally ill population, or substance abuse, or domestic violence, human trafficking, that's one of the more popular methods or approaches in working with those groups or those populations. So yeah, so just a little quick review. 1, check your attitude, do not be judgmental. 2, be resourceful. 3, maintain regular contact and engage with participants. And the last one is reduction to incorporate and utilize the harm reduction model. This is not an exhaustive list by any means. I can go on and on, but if these 4 skills are used regularly, I can almost guarantee you, as I've said earlier, that you will see more positive outcomes, and you will see more of your participants accomplishing their goals and actively engaging in the program. So that is about all I have for you guys. If you have any questions at all of my contact information, first of all, you can always email me at houseofovercome@gmail.com. You can call me as well, or you can send me a private message through Facebook. So check out our House of Overcome Facebook page. That's where you can find all of our contact information, from email, phone number, all of that, and then just more information about the organization itself and some of the services that we do provide for victims of human trafficking and domestic violence. You guys have a great evening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.